Mr. Tickle by Roger Hargreaves. It was a warm, sunny morning. In a small house at the other side of the wood, Mr. Tickle was fast asleep. You didn't know there was such a thing as Tickle, did you? Well, there is. Tickles are small and round, and they have arms that stretch and stretch. Extraordinarily long arms. Mr. Tickle was fast asleep. He was having a dream. It must have been a very funny dream because it made him laugh out loud. That woke him up. Mr. Tickle sat up in bed. He felt a little hungry. So do you know what he did? He reached one of his extraordinary long arms, opened the bedroom door, reached down the stairs, opened the kitchen door, reached into the kitchen cupboard, opened the biscuit tin, and brought out a biscuit. And he brought his hands back with the doors. So it's really useful having arms as long as Mr. Tickle's. Mr. Tickle munched his biscuit. Today looks very much like a tickling day, he thought to himself. So, later that morning, after Mr. Tickle had made his bed and cooked his breakfast, he went out through the woods. As he walked by, he kept his eyes wide open, looking for somebody to tickle, looking for anybody to tickle. Eventually, Mr. Tickle came to a school door. There was nobody about, so reaching up his extraordinary long arms, he opened the window of the school and looked inside. He could see children. There was a teacher writing on the blackboard and the kids sitting down at their desks. Mr. Tickle waited a minute and waited another minute, and then he tickled the teacher. The teacher jumped into the air and turned around to see who was there, but there was nobody there. Mr. Tickle grinned a mischievous grin. He waited another minute and tickled the teacher again. This time he kept on tickling the teacher until the teacher was laughing and saying, "Stop it, stop it!" It was a catastrophe. Eventually, Mr. Tickle gave the teacher one more tickle for luck, and reaching his extraordinary long arms back, Mr. Tickle gave the teacher one more tickle for luck, and then brought his arms back and went to town. And what a day Mr. Tickle had! Tickled the policeman on traffic jam. He tickled the greengrocer after he was piling apples. And all the apples all rolled off the soap. At the railway station, the guard was about to wave his flag, but after he did, Mr. Tickle reached his extraordinary long arm and then tickled the guard, and every time the guard tried to wave his flag, Mr. Tickle tickled him, and he tickled him until the train was 10 minutes late, and all the passengers were furious. That day, Mr. Tickle tickled everyone. He tickled the doctor. He tickled the butcher. He even tickled old Mr. Stamper Postman, who dropped all his letters into a puddle. Then Mr. Tickle went home. He would sit down at his armchair, and every time he thought about all the people he tickled, he laughed out loud. And then he laughed out loud. This is so funny. Oh dear. And then. So if you're ticklish, beware of Mr. Tickle and his extraordinary long arms of his. Perhaps he's that extraordinary long arm is already creeping up to the door of this room. Perhaps you, whatever you know, you be truly free.